Quicker Jack Field, no doubt about that. Also joining the lineup, Wayne Russell, Ian Palmer and George Ayoub at the tail of the field. Going to be a tough run for the privateers. We've got some hot shots up the front. Glenn Seton and Peter Brock sharing the front line. Jimmy Richards backing back into position. We'll keep an eye on that second row, and particularly Mark Skaife on the inside in car number 1. The field is set, big crowd, perfect weather, a wonderful day at Eastern Creek. The next round of the championship comes to us from Malala in South Australia in July, the 9th of July. Crowd to their feet in the grandstand. Lights about, ready to switch on. Racing, Alan Jones wins the start down the inside of Seton. Seton knows he's there, and look at the run down the inside into the first corner. They're trying to shut Skaife out, but they won't, the two Peter Jackson cars, as they make their way into turn 1. Brock was awfully wide, and there was dust everywhere back behind them. Seton has gone through to take the lead. Brocky, it's like the Melbourne Cup. He's going around the field, but he'll pay a penalty there as they make their way through turn number 2 and now work the back part of the course.
No use having the front row if you can't take off the line when it goes green, but Brock is recovering, but not in the position he'd like to be at the moment. Tough job to work harder now.
That was a sensational start. Not so good for David Attard, the privateer, standout privateer performer, in big trouble there. Plenty of damage to the front of the Alcare Commodore. Disappointing end of the day. Here's where the action is at the front of the grid, and Mark Skaife. What a tremendous start off the second row. Seton in charge, but there's Skaife in second. Paul Romano caught up in that battle as well.
Isn't that a pity? Two outstanding privateers who have not put a scratch on their cars all season. They both go out in the first corner shunt. Bad luck. There's John Bowe, who started the day as fast as qualifier yesterday and led the first race. It's going to get awfully tight. They all know he's suspect on tyres here today. Neil Crompton, there's, as you can see, John Bowe behind to give him a little dab, dab, dab. Crompton can take that all afternoon, incidentally.
Fascinating shot from race cam there. You couldn't get any closer. John Bowe trying to make some progress here. Get back amongst the points. He's right up behind Neil Crompton. Good, strong run from Crompton in the car. Number 7, the Coca-Cola new car that came on stream at Winton. Doing a great job here. So let's look at the field. See, there's Skaife in second position. Then there's Jones. Then Brock watching 3 from 4. There's Crompton in 5th. Johnson coming up behind him, or Bowe probably was. Then Gardner and Johnson. There's Tony Longhurst, car 25, currently in 10th position.
Yes, holding his own there. He qualified just out of that position yesterday, but holding a good 10th here today. It's strange to say a good 10th, but believe me, no shame to be at the bottom end of the top 12 in this league.
Battle the 5th and 6th. We follow Neil Crompton in 5th. The man who is harassing him is John Bowe in car number 18.
Not the position John likes. He's had a lot of fresh air in front of him over the previous heats this year, and able just to drive the car exactly the way he wants to. But when you've got a fellow in front of you making life difficult, it's hard to get your rhythm just right. Just when you want to put your foot down, the other fellow's just eased a second or two. But he's close to Neil this time round. Very close, I might add.
Not sure if Neil gave him a signal or went to adjust the rear view mirror there as they come across the start-finish line.
The crowd like it. They're up on their feet.
See, there aren't too many John Bowe fans here today. Every time a Commodore makes a move on a Ford...
Hello. They've just overtaken one of the Peter Jackson cars. They're coming through turn 1. One of them's in trouble. Whether that's Alan Jones or Glenn Seton, I'm not sure at this stage. Look how close John Bowe gets to the back of Crompton's car. You couldn't be any closer than be in front of him. All over the back of the Coca. There's that car 30.
Car 30. It's gone that deathly silent mode, which would indicate a little something.
Technical or mechanical
He's looking
failure.
at all his gauges, all his switches. He might have had a fuel pump problem or something electrical. Seems to be running still. Well, that's bad luck.
Critical stage of the championship for Glenn Seton. He really needed every point he could get here to stay in the championship battle, and he's come up against it here in Heat 2.
So it's Winfield, number 1 in the lead for one of the very few times this year. Won the heat at Bathurst after Dick Johnson broke his wing, but Mark will be very pleased with this position.
It's going to get awfully savage back behind him, though, because Alan Jones has moved up and Crompton has been now passed by John Bowe in car number 18.
So Seton slips out of first position. So Skaife, Jones, Brock, Crompton, John Bowe, just taken Crompton, so he'll move up to 4th position. Very tight in the top 5 as they head down toward turn 1.
Very disappointed. Glenn Seton has just pulled into pit lane. You can see the frustration. No major mechanical problems. I'll tell you the problem. The gear stick snapped. It is plain and simple as that.
Can you believe that?
And a very disappointed Glenn Seton walks back into the garages.
Nick Johnson, as we believe, has been calling his pit area, telling them that he's got a problem with his sight, that he's got his eyes filled up with water. He's having some trouble viewing it. I think we can see it.
He's probably taking some of that soot and smoke and leftovers from all the fellas in front of him, if the truth be known. But he is hurting.
Yeah. Trouble, you can see the tear ducts are working overtime there, and tears running down both his cheeks, and he's squinting and flicking his eyes. Pretty hard work. Pretty distracting too, I'd imagine, Al.
Very much so.
Mark Skaife, car number 1. Leads out of turn number 2 as we check out the Shell race score. Skaife the leader, Alan Jones running in second. Brock, is he saving something for the end of the race? Johnny Bowe is up to 4th, and Neil Crompton rounds out the 5. Back at the creek for a beat in a second.
Mark Skaife still leading nicely, handsomely, say, from Alan Jones.
Peter Brock currently in 3rd. And it's John Bowe, some 7.6 seconds behind.
He's done a pretty fair job, John Bowe, considering his tyres and so forth today, in this heat particularly.
Bad starting position by virtue of his finish in the first heat. It's the first time he wasn't on the front row of the grid. He'll be happy to get this.
Oh, got one in trouble, one of the Whitfield cars.
There's Jimmy Richards. Well, it was all pretty boring out there on the black stuff.
Lightning on the grass.
So Jim gets back into it.
Jimmy was running 7th, so he would have lost quite a few places there, I guess, on that run across the grass.
So I guess I was generalising about the number 2s earlier, but Jim, as we take a replay here, the 2 is blue replay from Dick Johnson's race cam. Jim's run up behind Chris Young. Dick had a look out the right. What on earth are you doing out there?
I think he ran up on him too close. They had to hit the brakes and didn't want to lock them up, so he let it fade to the right, and he just took evasive action. Alan Jones getting a little closer here to Mark Skaife now. Yeah. Nothing in any of this. It's only a gear change between them, and any one of these cars will pounce on Mark.
Still got a long way to go. It's coming up to complete 14 laps of 22, so there's plenty of real estate between these guys and the flag. And as Mike alluded to earlier, Brock has a habit of coming gangbusters in those last 5 laps. The orders could well change by the time we get the checkered flag at Eastern Creek this afternoon.
Well, out of the 2 of them, if Brock and Jones were able to collar our race leader, I think the most aggressive of the 2 would probably be the man that's running in second. That'll be Alan. Brocky, he will fire up and try and get as close as he can, but so far he's been unable to do that. He might be just letting them set their own pace.
Amazing the topsy-turvy nature of the fortunes this weekend. Alan Jones, a terrible time Friday and Saturday trying to get some speed out of the car. So we take Dunlop race cam as Dick zeroes in on Neil Crompton, currently running 6th as the battle for 6th and 7th. And Dick's making fairly good progress here.
Well, Dick's thrown the...
He's got front tires on the rear. He's doing a marvelous job just staying out there.
If he runs this thing in reverse, he'll be uncatchable.
Pardon us for laughing at ourselves.
Into the left-hander. It's getting a little tighter at the front.
Yes, I think Jones is starting to really hassle him.
Nothing in the lap times at the moment. They're only a 10th of a second apart, even a 100th of a second apart last time around, so nothing in this. As Alan said, one slip from one of these 2 is going to make a difference in position. Brock just sitting there in 3rd position, waiting to pounce.
There's no win really in any of this for Glenn Seton, whether Jones wins or runs second. Peter Brock starting to look like the overall points round winner here today, and will do it without a win. But he's got a little closer now to the tail of Jones.
I think he's just... Oh, he's not cruising. He's monitoring very seriously what's going on in front, but he's just waiting for a slip of some sort.
Keep in mind, they'll be talking back to their team chiefs, monitoring their lap times, maybe holding back. I only say maybe, just holding back.
Skaife's got the lights on. Starts to pick his way with slower traffic. Make no mistake. These privateers are pretty busy when these quick guys come up behind them. Quite a speed differentiation. Track's quite narrow. And there's
Claude Georgie from Western Australia.
He's doing the right thing. Gives him plenty of room. Rocky has to...
That's ruined Brock.
Didn't quite get the flow there, and he's punched it a little bit of oversteer for still. A little extra exuberance trying to catch up again. I think Peter came off third best there. And a good driver who is being lapped will watch the rear view mirrors. It's something Giorgio can learn from this telecast.
So 15 laps completed. They're just going to complete their 16th as they come around this time. Skaife in command from Jones. Brock in third. Bowe currently in fourth. They're doing a good job here. Difficult circumstances to hang on to fourth.
Much tighter inside run through that turn by Alan Jones. Skaife. Car really handling superbly. Very soft setup. Dancing around with the front wheel in the air into the left-hander. Here's the Shell Series leader, John Bowe, car number 18, still there in fourth. Hasn't been his day. He's been battling those tyres.
Just shows how critical tyres are in this series. These cars are just so evenly matched now. The only thing you have left to exploit is the rubber. And if you can see John Bowe, after such scintillating qualifying, struggling to run back in fourth position, just an indication of how much the tyres rule in racing today. So Bowe hanging on in fourth position, some 10 seconds behind Peter Brock in third position, and powerless to do anything about it.
And a week ago he was leading every lap. It's quite amazing, isn't it? Here we go. Red lightning. Is it red lightning? Yellow lightning.
This will be a heartening performance too for the Yokohama guys. Very intense development program throughout the year with Fred Gibson Racing. And certainly the shunt, a couple of big shunts at the beginning of the year, put that program out of kilter, I'm sure. But now they're getting right back on track. This performance would certainly suggest that they're heading in the right direction. Very competitive times for Skaife. The mid-35 second bracket. Jones and Brock running with him, so there's nothing in this. Nothing wrong with this race package for Mark Skaife in Heat 2.
I'm sure this is the best he's felt for months. Great lift for a driver, responsible for the development. It's up to the lead drivers to put the input into what goes into them in the first place. So to be able to lead this pack is no mean feat, and he'll know that, certainly after their runs over the last couple of rounds.
Wayne Gardner, car number 4, runs fifth, one spot behind John Bowe. He's been able to come from behind, past teammate Neil Crompton. Would have had a perfect day, apart from the fact that Alan Jones scored it for him in the dash this morning by giving him a little touch in the door, which spun him out of contention. A brake lock up there on the way into the left-hander.
Yeah, you can do that a couple of times, but ultimately, if you kept doing that 7 or 8 times, you could take it right down to the canvas and have a blowout on your hand.
Gardner currently in 5th position in this field, 5.1 seconds behind.
That's the second one. Shall we start counting?
So he's 15 or 16 seconds down on the lead battle at the moment.
Gardner goes through. Here comes Brocky behind Alan Jones. He's starting to uncork it.
Well, the crowd standing and cheering in the grandstand in front of us that time around. They can see Brock sniffing a bit of blood here. Alan Jones falling slowly into his clutches. And this is what we said. Lap 18 down. They're into their 19th. And Brock coming on gangbusters the last few laps.
Yeah, he comes through turn 1 just a couple of miles an hour faster and starts to gather up Alan Jones very dramatically. Still not as close as he'd like to be, but if he's got that kind of snap through turn 1, he'll just work away to the point where he comes onto the main straight as tidy as possible, slipstream him down the straight, and then know that he can reliably just nail it through turn 1.
Jones, you can see, has dropped back off the pace behind Skaife, and that's where the challenge has come from Brock. A few laps ago, he was sitting on his tail on the exit of that turn, but not so at the moment. There's Skaife getting away by about 2 car lengths. Down to the right-hander.
Tough 22 laps around here. We could be looking at just a degree of driver fatigue. Not that I would ever suspect that any one of these three fellows weren't capable of doing 22 laps around here, but it's very demanding. It doesn't really matter whether it was 2 laps. It's demanding if you've got this level of competition to fight.
This corner on the main straight, critical for Brock. He did it very well last time around, was able to close the gap to Jones, but he's a bit further back this time. Alan Jones responding. Certainly faster than Brock through the back part of the circuit that time around. Brock looking for any opportunity he can get, trying to force Jones to make a mistake. But these are 2 of the most experienced drivers in the field, really taking the fight up from every inch of the way. 19 down, they're into the 20th lap now.
Well, they've spread out a little, apart from the ones dicing up the front. The gaps then back between the other cars are quite enormous.
The application to duty here at the front, as it is always the case, is very poignant.
Sideways through there.
There we go.
George Ayew hangs to the right.
Whoa!
Yeah, Brock didn't see him.
No.
Had to flick it a bit.
Still a marvellous talent, isn't he, Brocky? And Alan Jones, for all the years of racing, they're still ultra-competitive. Brocky in his 50th year, enjoying his racing just as much when he was a kid. Superbly fit, and a very, very competitive car. And might be a little more competitive too, because don't forget our next round, which is Mallala. The skirts come up on the Ford. The ride height comes up, what is it, Alan, 25 mils?
It's not so much that the Ford is going to have to change. They're going to allow a few modifications to the Holden that basically were overlooked, it appears, 30 months ago. I don't know why it's taken 30 months for the General Motors engineers to figure it out that they need a bit more room, but in an attempt to keep the engineering level equal, they're going to allow the ride travel on the Holdens to be modified to effectively come up to the same that the Fords have at the moment.
I can see you're wrapped about that.
It goes under the homologation disguise. I know that it's the wisest way to do any form of leveling.
Yeah. Getting a little tight again as we head up. Oof, gigantic one there from Mark. Jonesy's maybe warmed to the idea of one good shot here as they come up on Young and the Metagrow Commodore. He'll hang to the left.
They're all in it now. They all know they can. Either one of them can win it. Mark wants to hang on. Jonesy wants to take it, and Peter knows that he can get it as well.
Just see their sails starting to puff out a bit. Now a bit of wind coming along. They're coming up
Spinnakers are out.
on this second last lap. Next time they come across the start-finish line, they're sitting out in their final 3.93 kilometres to do it in, and you can see a great sense of urgency here.
Just
these
a little,
last 2 or 3 laps.
Just a little more hustling from point to point, and it's quite physical.
Head down the front straight, Brock to the inside. Last lap board comes out. There's Jones. They all sit in behind Skaife, and everyone is willing Brock on to get up there and make it a Holden 1-2.
It's going to have to be a desperado on his part. He's been trying to apply the pressure for 21 laps. None of the 2 guys in front have cracked.
So that's one thing you won't get from PB, and that's any desperado, I don't think.
The maturity's always been one of his highlights, unfortunately,
and he'll get
those that raced against him.
Yeah, and he'll get to pick up points today on John Bowe. Glenn Seton won't, but Brock went into this race as the point score leader on the day, and third, I think, will just about make him the round winner. We'll leave that to the stats people at the completion of this final lap to work out. But they're close. Jonesy just thinking about a little nip down there.
Oh, look at the lock brake. They're all locking brakes coming into the corner. Up toward Corporate Hill for the final time. Getting desperate here. Alan Jones really closing in on the back of Mark Skaife. I think he's going to have a go at the hairpin as they come down here for the final time.
It's not over. It isn't over yet.
Nothing he can do about Skaife there. A very conservative line for the midfield driver. Look at Jones right on his hammer here as they come up toward the 3 turns. Onto the main straight. Critical ground now. Skaife looks like he's got it covered.
I'd say he has. There's nothing that Brock can do. Watch that inside front wheel just hiking off the ground as he comes through the final corner. Bound for the straight here at Eastern Creek. And checkered flag time. Brock can't do anything about it. It's going to be Mark Skaife in the Winfield Commodore first across the line in heat number 2. Brock comes down the outside of Jones. Just can't do it. Jones will pick up second. Brock takes third. And John Bowe will take fourth place. Confirmation on the Shell Series race score of the top 10. Mark Skaife, the winner of race number 2 of round 7. Second went to Alan Jones. How close was it? And Peter Brock, a very fine third. John Bowe finished in 4th. Wayne Gardner of fighting 5th. 6th place went to Cope teammate Neil Crompton. 7th to Thomas Mazzera.